Hello and welcome to episode 59 of Learn, Do, Become Radio. I'm April Perry and my husband Eric and I run LearnDoBecome.com. We are here to help people who are drowning in the details of life to create really simple systems so that we can do what matters most. We love the concept of architecting a life of excellence. And today we are interviewing Keli Gwyn, who is amazing. She's optimistic, she is action-oriented, she is forward-moving, and she's a member of our Steps to Everyday Productivity program. And she was putting all kinds of these awesome comments on Facebook. She was posting things on ads that we had for our webinar. And she was just doing so many amazing things with her photos and her story. And I just thought, okay, I've got to talk to this woman. Now, here's the thing. She had been feeling really overwhelmed. She had retired from her career as a writer and was dealing with so many piles. And she wanted to get out and unstuck. And she did. And it's awesome to hear her journey. But then her husband's cancer became more serious. And she had to pause it all to become his full-time caregiver. But she is making things work. She is showing up as a hero. And I'm going to let her do the talking. We're going to jump right now into the interview because I can't wait for you to hear the lessons that she shared with me and Eric. Enjoy. All right. Welcome, Keli, to Learn, Do, Become Radio.
Oh, I am thrilled to be here. It's such an honor.
We've been talking a little bit before we actually started formally recording. Keli is amazing, has been going through a lot in her own family, but she's actually implementing what we talk about here at Learn to Become in such a beautiful, powerful way. I mean, I was getting choked up just listening to her talk about it. So Keli, let's go ahead and just give you the chance to just kind of talk about where you were prior to finding Learn to Become and the STEP program, how you found us, and just start letting us know what your story is.
Okay, I'd be happy to do that. I was a writer. I wrote inspirational historical romances for 10 years, and my husband retired. He's a retired chemistry teacher. He was having all kinds of fun, and I was stuck with deadlines, and I didn't like that. I wanted to join him in the fun, so I retired, but I faced piles everywhere from the 10 years that I had just been on, basic maintenance, even bills being late and things like that. I was wanting so much to regain control of my life. And I was going through Facebook one day and I saw this ad for a program called Learn to Become. You might have heard of it. And it had an ad for this, how to stop drowning in piles. Uh-huh. And I thought, okay, that sounds too good to be true. I hope it's not a gimmick thing. And I clicked on it and I watched it and I was like, oh my gosh, this is what I've been looking for. I have to have more. So I investigated you guys and I was on vacation at the time down at my brother-in-law's house. And my husband and his brother were talking a lot. And so I had time to myself. So I got started on the Step Starter program. And I just listened to you guys on your podcast. I binge listened. And that's what I would do. I just go off under the trees and, on a nice patio chair. And I just listen to you guys. And I thought it was so fun. You guys were just a hoot to listen to. I mean, that was fun. But you were talking my language. And it was like, I had been searching for something like this for so long. When I was younger, back in my 20s, I'm now almost to my 60s, I had 2 full bookshelves of every time management book that I could possibly find back in Borders. See, I go back.
Yep.
I go back a ways. And I had, devoured those books one after another, but nothing was working for me. I was like, each one had their own system, but it was just a piece of a big picture. Then, and I'd try this and I'd try that, but it didn't help me gain control of everything. I listened to your podcasts, your lessons, and as I went through all of them without being able to implement anything because I wasn't even at home, it gave me the overview, and I thought, whoa, this is going to do for me what I have been searching decades for. Yeah. So I came home and listened to them again, on slow-mo then, so that I could, one at a time, so I could implement things. And I was so excited to get my Command Central up and running. Of course, like so many of us in our Step Mastery group on Facebook, I had to dig out. I almost needed a backhoe, it felt like. So what worked for me was laundry baskets. I mean, forget just a bin here and there. No, I needed laundry baskets, and I just started piling all my old writing papers and everything, just willy nilly into the baskets to clear the space, like it says in the in the program, and it worked. It was like, oh my gosh, I could breathe. I just didn't look at the laundry baskets, and then I was better off. And I finally had some like space in my head that could wrap my head around the idea of I'm going to actually make some progress here for the first time. So I then built my command central, and it was so fun. And I found a filing system that I liked. I know some people use what's called the Freedom Filer, but I liked the idea of the color and all that, but I wanted my own categories. So I found these really pretty plastic file folders with colored edges and tabs that you put in that are also color. And I have a label maker. So, it looked beautiful. And I'm like, okay, it's pretty. That's a really positive thing because I wanted it to be attractive. If it was just boring, I mean, I'm not going to be wanting to use it as much. So I made it pretty and I made it my way. And that's one of the things I love about the program is that it's not cookie cutter. We're allowed to be creative. I mean, you guys give us the ideas, but we can run with them. Yeah. And that is so great because each person's setup is different. Each person's needs are different. And I was able to make it my way and make it work. So I was excited. I had those laundry baskets, though. I had the command central set up. I had my filing system in place, but I had to face the laundry basket. That's where all the lessons came in to play and just worked beautifully. And one of the biggest tips that helped me was you just start at the top of the pile. The reason that was so great, April, was because I used to get paralyzed. Where do I begin? Yeah. And just it's so what those baskets represented to me was a zillion decisions I was going to have to make.
Yeah, right. And they were a lot of decisions.
Like each piece of paper, each item in those baskets represented a decision, and that's where I would get bogged down. But I was like, okay, I can do this. And then you have the 2-minute rule, and it's like I pick up a paper and I go, oh, wow, I can do this one really fast. It's just putting a new contact in my phone. Okay, that's less than 2 minutes. Bip, 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 and it's done. And it was amazing how fast I was able to work through those baskets and start, putting the papers into my cubbies and into my tickler file and in all the different elements of the program. And it was like, I would get to one and I'd go, oh, there's a place for this. Oh, there's a place for this too. And that was so great because in the other systems I had tried, it was like, yeah, I might have a great calendar that works beautifully, but what do I do with all the papers that, are attached to those things in the calendar? But this system has that in place. You guys have thought of everything, it seems like. So, I had my case of pyelitis. I attacked it, and I made a lot of progress. So that's how I got started. Okay. Binge listening, digging in and doing it.
I love that.
So she's not passionate about this at all. She hasn't gotten any great results.
Well, I think really like when you were saying, we're on the same wavelength, that's how I felt too, because, a lot of this adapted from David Allen's Getting Things Done and kind of learning how to make it work for me. And that was the aha moment for me when I realized nothing ever has to sit in a pile like, oh, well, this one is an exception. This has to sit here. There was nothing that had to just sit because I had piles literally around the perimeter of my bedroom. Like, okay, this is for this, and this is for this, and this is for this. And I just ended up with more organized piles, but that was still piles. It wasn't actually making anything go away.
Yeah, still stressing her out. Like April actually, and we talked about this before, but April's built this system 10 years ago to solve her own pain points, to get more of that balance personally and professionally. And I love talking to people in our community where they're seeing kind of adapting the same ideas, the same approaches. They're able to get the personal and professional progress that they want to get. So that is awesome. I love what you said also about just how unique you've made your command central. Because I've always said in our classes, like there are as many command centrals out there as there are members of our community, right? Because the system that April designed, it's just principles, right? You build the whole system around these principles, but you make it you make it feel however you want in whatever space you have or may not have. So I just love it. We have the benefit of being able to see Kelly's little bit of her system behind her on video. The people
and we have some photos that she sent. We'll put them on the show notes page.
The people listening won't be able to see this awesomeness, but she was like pointing to a few things, like you could tell like she's proud, and it's beautiful. Like look at that. She just opened up. So unfortunately, you won't be able to see all this cool video, but Kelly's got this amazing
You might do a
system
little screenshot
that
of
she's
that.
built. Yeah, she's built in her space, and she's built it her way. And I can see a few of her writing resources. I mean, so she's still pursuing her passions in there, but the system, she's made it her own. So I love hearing and seeing that, Kelly.
Okay, now sometimes people might listen to you and say, okay, well, Keli has a charmed life and she's able to do all this
And a
because
magic wand.
nothing's really going on in her life and she's retired now. And so she has all this time. So now I want you to tell a little more of the story about what's been happening in addition to all of this, because you have a lot going on. You want to share a little bit more about that?
Yeah. Okay, so I got my command central up and going, and I was gung ho. I was excited. My life was going to be together for the first time in a long time. Well, I say God had other plans, and so we went in for my husband. My husband went in to have a routine appointment with his urologist, and his prostate cancer had gotten worse. His number had gone up on his PSA, and surgery was on the table. So that just shook everything up. We had two and a half weeks to prepare for this major shift in our lives. And I was like, oh no, I just got there. And now life's falling apart. What am I going to do? But, I just had to do the day-to-day, living life and going to the doctor's appointments and prepping and all of that, and then going through the surgery. And it was a complete upheaval of our lives. Life became survival, especially right after the surgery. The first few weeks, my husband had a complication that kept him, as Mr. Tubular Man for a while. Mm-hmm. And he needed my help morning and night, just doing the most basic things like, dressing and showering and things. So being able to spend time at my command central went out the window. Mm-hmm. So I mean, he's doing well. He's recovered well from the surgery. And you might think, oh, wow, I'm back to where I want to be. But the cancer has probably metastasized. So we may be going through round 2. So in the midst of all of that, I'm, helping him change, and I'm helping him shower, and we're going to all the doctor's appointments. And what kept me, deep inside, kept me from totally losing it was the fact that I told myself, Keli, it's going to be okay. You have a system in place. Life won't stay this way forever, and you're going to be able to get back to it. The doctor's telling you that. So trust, have some faith here. So one of the things that did that was knowing that I had set up my command central, and that I saw that I had this system that worked throughout those terrible 4 or 5 months we've been through. Which we're still in this mess, but it's getting better. We see a light at the end of the tunnel in terms of, being able to, go on with life with cancer, but life, is that I had, this foundation in terms of my office was in a good place. Yeah, there were piles again, but it was like, you did this once, you can get back there, you can do it again. And I trusted that the system would work for me. I didn't know how well it would work for me, but, I trusted that, okay, it took, a couple of weeks before. You've got, if it takes you a couple of weeks again, you can do it again. It didn't, though. It took me, at most like 4 hours, and I'm back up and running. And I'm just like, wow, how did that happen?
That is awesome.
It happened because I took those 2 weeks initially to get my files in order and to get my command central set up and to understand the process that, the STEP program is, and how it's, thing has a place, and that I can find things again. So yeah, I had to go through a few small stacks, but during that whole the big part of the crisis after surgery and all, I didn't miss a bill. I could find all of the lab paperwork and all of the doctor's appointment reminders and everything, because I had, places for them, and I was doing my best to keep them in those places. And granted, they might have been on the dining room table, not in my beautiful command central, but I knew the idea of keeping together and, having a system. I'd already worked the system enough to know that was going to work for me. And that gave me peace of mind in the midst of the chaos. Yeah. And so in about 4 hours, I'm back up and running, and I think I'm going to be able to maintain a little better during phase 2 of this cancer journey.
Wow.
I mean, it's amazing for me to hear your story, because you start realizing, just as I'm watching you, how valuable your health and your peace of mind is, not only to you, but to your husband. Where imagining from his point of view, if not only did he know that you were going to be caring for him, on such a physical level and helping him with those basic things, I'm sure he'd prefer to do on his own. Nobody wants to have someone else take care of those basic needs, but knowing that you're doing all of that for him because he physically can't do it himself. But if he also thought you were also feeling stressed out because you couldn't find the papers and you couldn't find the lab work and you're feeling like the bills and everything's on you, I imagine that would add a lot more to his stress too. Just thinking like, look what I'm making her do, or like feeling just that guilt or that desire to help. But I'm sure when he can see you on your game, like you're managing this so well, I think that would help him. And I'm just trying to put myself in his shoes.
Yeah.
I haven't been in his shoes, but I'm thinking I would feel that some alleviation of the stress, knowing like, okay, she's got this.
Well, just I sit here, I'm able to like look at you and watch and listen to you, like your calm, your composure, your confidence. And I'm just deeply impressed and just want to let you know how much we admire what you've been able to do. And, if the STEP system has been a support in that, we are so grateful for that. But you just seem like an amazing individual, an amazing woman. And, we talk a lot about managing current projects and not having too many. And I'm definitely sure that a lot of your husband's care and the treatments, the things that have been needed to be managed, your ability to manage that in such a streamlined, kind of effective way, hopefully it is reducing the amount of emotional and mental and even, physical and even spiritual kind of weight on you and on
Yeah.
him. So I just like look at and listen to you, like just that composure and that confidence. I'm just really impressed by.
Oh, well, thanks. And you brought up something, April, that just ties exactly into what I was thinking. And I knew I was going to get to talk to you. So I actually asked Carl, I said, so Carl, I'm just curious because, his system of organization is the dining room table and he has to see every single piece of paper that he has, in the works. Totally different than my system. I love my files. And I asked him, I said, Carl, you've watched me through these. We've been married 30 wonderful years. And I said, you've watched me through these last 31 years. And what have you seen in terms of a change in me as a result of the STEP program? Because he hears me talk about it all the time. He knows you guys by name, okay? You're like my friends, even though you didn't know you were.
Awesome.
And so I asked him this morning, and he said, Keli, you have been more relaxed. You're happier. He just went on and on. He says, you have contentment. You're more at peace, and you worry less. And I said, okay, so that's about me. What do you think about, logistically? And he says, oh, well, your office is more organized. And he said, it's cut down on time, just like you were saying, when I needed to grab something, for the doctor's appointments or whatever. He says, you can find anything really fast now. And he said, and his final thought was, well, you like this system better than anything you've tried. It seems to work better than anything you've tried. So I guess I got across to him how much I like it.
You're awesome, Keli. Oh my goodness.
I love that. So, okay, tell me what you would say to someone right now who's thinking, where do I get started? How do I do it? Clearly we have a free class where they can come join us. And, we have a program. Some people may be interested in joining, some people don't. And Eric and I are like, we really want to be careful. We're not trying to just record a bunch of STEP commercials. Because although we love the program and we love to interview members of our community who also love the program, we recognize that the whole world might not want to join a program. But we still want the podcast to be effective for them and helpful. Do you want to?
Not everyone's as hardcore as I am.
Well, no, but honestly, maybe just clarify for me. So I think you said you came in initially, you listened to some podcasts, you came in initially to the starter program. That's kind of an initial, a basic orientation, kind of a basic introduction. And then it sounds like not long after you decided you wanted to upgrade, going to the full mastery program. So I'm actually really a little bit curious about that little journey. What made you to make those decisions? Not to spend a lot of time on it, but then, maybe to what April's saying, what would you share with people that this may or may not feel like the right fit? Because we never want anyone to feel like we are pushing or promoting our program. But if it is
I am promoting it.
We're promoting
hardcore promoting it.
But there's no pushing.
No pushing.
I get what you're saying, Eric. And this is what I would tell other people, and I have told other people. One of my good girlfriends, she's the one who got my gifted course.
Oh.
She heard me talking about it. It was like, it's changing my life. So obviously I'm going to tell my friends about it. when I talk to them, I tell them that, this system works for me, and yes, I purchased it, but you don't have to, because you guys offer so many resources through your podcasts and your website, and your blog posts, that you can learn a lot that way. And if you're interested, there's more available. But just even starting listening to the very first workshop I listened to about getting rid of the piles was helpful. And then, I went and I listened to everything else I could find, because I wanted to make sure you guys were on the up and up, and before I'm investing, because I'm on a retirement budget. That was an important factor for me. So I think that there's a lot to be gained, but it's available in different levels, and you don't have to buy in as quite as deeply as I have. I'm like, I've got my pom poms for you guys today, because it's worked so well personally. But it's going to appeal to different people in different ways, and people are in different stages of life. I happened to get to encounter STEP and Learn to Become at a time in my life when I was hungry for a system that would work for me. I was digging out, I was starting a new phase of life, and I wanted something to use to go into that. But for people who are, in the midst of it, raising kids, I remember those days. We have a daughter, and you're busy, you're juggling everything. And, some people are juggling a job as well as, raising the kids. They may not have the 2 weeks I set aside to get everything going, but you guys offer, I just saw the hour-long, course workshop about how to set up the Command Central in just, no time at all, using things you have on hand. It doesn't have to be the big, full-blown, beautiful system that I hope Max stay business for. It doesn't have to be like that. It can be your own way. That's when I went early on, I said, I like the creativity. It's not a cookie cutter system.
Right.
You can make it your way, as elaborate as you want or as simple as you want. And you can pick and choose what works for you. A lot of people are digitally minded. I'm from the dark ages, so I tend to do my system more on paper, and I love my planner.
Oh yeah.
And I'm a little old. It's a Franklin planner. Yeah. April, are you happy there?
Soul sisters.
Yeah, I told you we're on the same wavelength. You just didn't know it. And but for people who have their phones, I've actually found a couple of apps through you guys that are working really great for me, and got my daughter turned on to one of them. It's helping her with her finances. And so there's all kinds of ways to approach it. And you guys don't, push any one way, and you don't push like, join us. That's the only way to do it. No, you offer all kinds of resources out there that are available to everyone. They can pick and choose what works for them. And I love that about the program.
Well, I love that answer, because it is. It's the way you described it. And for anybody, it can be an evolution, right? They might listen to us on a podcast like here or elsewhere. They might come to that free class we offer. And if they start with just what they learn from the posts and podcasts, they start there, they build something, right? Or if they come into a starter or a self-study program, again, it's meant to be an evolution, because people are meant to build the system and build the approach that's going to work best for their lives. I love hearing how you've kind of made your evolution, what it's grown into, and it'll be fun to see in years ahead what it turns into.
I have one more question for you, and then any other closing thoughts you want to share. But I love, as I'm listening to you, how you have an energy for finding solutions and for being able to take what life hands you and then being able to move forward in a really positive way. And I think that's something that a lot of people kind of don't even know is out there. From what we hear from a lot of our community members, is that they wake up in the morning and they feel like, I have so much that's required of me. I don't have the energy. I don't have what it takes. Let me just watch TV or hang out on my phone, or just kind of waste the day away. Not that I want to, but I don't know there's an alternative. Maybe any final perspective that you might offer for someone who's kind of in that spot?
Yeah, I spent weeks in that, as Carl's health improved and he didn't need me as much and he could start dressing himself again and all those good things. My wheels were kind of spinning, and I can totally relate to people who are in that. It was like I had no energy left.
Mm-hmm.
I had come out of that experience really drained. And again, I think it's the whole idea that there is hope. The system is there, and you can make changes when you're ready to, in your own way and at your own speed. And that we don't need to, put the shame or the blame on ourselves. Yes, what is, what was is, and you can't change it, but you have control of the future. And when you're ready, you can embrace that. And there are tools available to help you, such as you guys offer with the STEP program. And not to beat ourselves up. Danielle said it so well in the email inviting me to speak with you guys today. She said it's all about progress, not perfection. And I think it's important to remember that as a recovering perfectionist. So.
I really appreciate you saying that. And I think that what you're offering, what you're sharing with people is so important, because you're right in some of the hardest parts right now. I mean, as I imagine life and imagine all the things that are hard, yes, it's hard having little babies and diapers. Erica and I were just talking about the other day. We're like, what's the hardest time of life, or what's the best time of life? We were kind of trying to go through, because there's ups and downs, I think, every day, every month, every year. But I think when we can look at what you're doing right now, where you have vibrance and energy and so much to contribute, not just to your own family, but also to the world. And when you can get the basics in order, where you feel like, hey, I can move forward. I have this sense of progress, or I have hope that if I'm on hold for, a week or two, that when I get back, I'll move it forward again. I just think it's exciting and empowering that people can know, hey, there is hope, there are tools, there is a way out. And I love, like right now, I've noticed you've been so encouraging for the other people in our community. We've just hit 7,000 people in our Step Mastery Facebook group. I love that community so much, because everyone has their own stuff going on, but there's no one in there complaining. All of us are saying like, okay, you can do this. Look what you're doing. Look how great. And I think that is one of the most powerful things that I think that we can offer at Learn to Become. And I love going to community, because this has grown. I mean, STEP started as just this kind of little program Eric and I were creating that we didn't know how far it was going to go or what was going to happen. But now I feel like it's kind of taking on this like movement and this life of its own, where it's lifting us. Like, it's not us pushing it. It's like lifting us. And we love our community so, so much. I appreciate all you're doing in there.
That word community just really describes the STEP family to me. When I was in those darkest days, I didn't have time to maintain my own system and do a lot. But at night, when I lay in there trying to get to sleep, because, insomnia became an issue. And I would, just kind of go on Facebook and go to the group and be able to hear what everybody else was doing. And that was, inspiring to me, to know that there were people out there, who were making positive differences in their life, and that my turn would come. And I just love the support of that group, and it helped me through those dark days. Actually, the Facebook.
I love hearing that. I hadn't even thought about that, but the stuff.
You asked me why I upgraded. It was because I wanted the community, and I needed that around me, and it's made a big difference.
Because we talk a lot about all the benefits and just the power of that community, the support. They're like-minded individuals, kind of like your brothers and sisters or friends in there, giving best practices and ideas. But I hadn't even thought about that as an idea. Like when people are in our group and they're going through the hard times, but they don't have time to be maybe maintain their command central or reposting in the group, then being able to still get on Facebook and, like I said, in those late night hours, early morning when they're kind of maybe struggling, and just seeing encouragement, other people's successes and progress, that can be a huge, I haven't even thought about that.
Well, I love the phrase, my turn will come. Like knowing, hey, right now, this is where I am, but this is what I will do when I have that bandwidth.
It encourages you. Wow.
Keli, you're amazing. Thank you so much for joining us today.
Yeah, seriously, you are incredible.
So much for spending the time with me. This was a hoot for me. I've been so excited about it.
Well, make sure you tell Carl.
Thank you for all you.
Oh, no, you're very welcome. We just built a little program. It's April's mostly her program and her work, but it's just been so exciting and so rewarding to see so many people come in and just start to move forward or achieve great things or manage through very difficult things, as you've done and are doing, with maybe some of these things as a resource to you. So we're just so excited and grateful to hear what you've been doing. We hope you'll definitely continue to share in the group and let people know, because you'll become that light of encouragement, that light of hope. Because one of the things we really Learn to Become want to do is help people feel and find hope that they can move their lives forward in the directions they want. STEP is a great tool in that, but there are a lot of other resources there that we are trying to provide. But then, like you said, that the community will share experiences, perspectives, resources, and things they've come across. So I was just going to say, before I let April wrap us up, please let Carl know that we are now good friends, and we are so grateful to have you in the community, and that we send him our love and our best wishes. And definitely our prayers and his continued successful treatment and recovery. Just sounds like you're a great couple with some great things going on and ahead of you.
Absolutely.
Thanks so much.
All right. I genuinely wish I could give you a hug through the computer, but you'll just have to accept a virtual hug for now. Hopefully we'll get to meet in person. You're awesome. Thank you, Keli.
Thank you.
It has been a pleasure to have you here with us at Learn, Do, Become Radio. While I'm sitting and talking into this microphone and staring at a computer, sometimes it's hard for me to imagine the thousands and thousands of people who are out there listening and who are having personal experiences with what they're hearing in the podcast. I know that you're having a personal experience because every time you listen to someone's story and every time you're listening to ideas that can help you to move forward, something is happening inside you that is preparing you for what's ahead and will help you to be able to architect your life. It is seriously one of the best gifts of my whole life to get to run this community and to be able to meet people like Keli. I hope that you will continue whatever step you decide is best to be able to move forward, to get out of those piles, to create systems, to be able to architect your life so that you can enjoy your family and enjoy all the beautiful things that are waiting for you. And if you're already a member of our Steps to Everyday Productivity program, make sure that you come into the new login. If you just go to the homepage of learndobecome.com, you can click login. You can go right to our new site. Or just remember my.learndobecome.com. You can use the exact same email and password you used in our old system. I'm just getting emails literally every day from people saying, I want to get started again. How do I do it? We revamped the program, new login. We did email you about it, but maybe there's a lot going on. It's okay. If you're not currently in our program, come learn more about it. learndobecome.com/step. Love you. Have an amazing day. We'll see you soon at learndobecome.com.